We are on the Country versus Metal podcast with Amanda Kate Ferris. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's cool to actually talk to you because I've been following you for a while now.
I know. Well, and it's so funny. I was telling Steve about. I was like, it's country versus metal. I think you were one of the first when I got on TikTok. You were one of the first people to find my music on TikTok, which was really cool. It was like my first experience of somebody that wasn't in my immediate circle finding music, and it felt like the first time it was an outsider reviewing my stuff that was like, oh my gosh, like an actual fresh perspective, not you know, Aunt Millie down the road or something.
Now, now with your music, every song I've listened to, it's all polished. It's all great. Do you think like for your create, you're just like a moment or like a song or somebody just I don't know. It's not. It's weird. Like when you listen to somebody like yourself that has all that talent and from the production to the songwriting to the songs, and you're just like, why? Why hasn't this? Because
Yeah.
you do videos and you're like, I would love to do this full time, and it like
Yeah.
breaks my heart to hear that. I'm like, what? This isn't like a full time thing. It's just
Yeah. You know what's crazy is I think I definitely have been really lucky with production. Like I'm the biggest fan of my last album. Like I put so much work into that, and the people that helped me, my producer, Jimmy Ritchie, the band that worked on that, they were all the best of the best. And the songs, I had access to some of the best songs ever, And so I got really lucky during that time for that particular project. But I think people just they don't understand how hard it is to do this full time because unless you're doing it on like a major scale, and even if you're touring opening for artists, you're coming up negative a lot of times for most of the shows. It's really hard to break through to that next level. So it's like I'm like, as soon as I can quit my day job, like I would love to do this full time, but I also have a daughter, and I've worked my butt off. I have my own home, and I'm like, I'm not willing to like let all of this go live in my van. So it's really tough, and it's so saturated, and unless you have investors or, daddy's money, it's going to be hard.
right. It's man. Like you said, like sometimes you'll cover and be like, there's a lot of great singer songwriters out there. You just need to look around.
Yeah, and I know so many artists that are doing this full time that are, they are grinding it out, and they're playing every show that they can. And I went through a period of my life where I was doing that. We were playing, 150 to 200 shows a year, and I loved it, but I also felt like I really got burnt out after a while. I was like, okay, you can only play so many empty bars, and spending so much. I was in so much debt at one point where it was like, I am spending so much money trying to do this. Like, I got to go home and work a job and do it when I can. And luckily with social media, the love-hate relationship I have with it is that I don't really have to, I can still find fans without having to go and be on the road. And then hopefully one day the fans will grow to enough of a point where the demand is there, where when I go play shows, I actually can make money. And then we're just waiting for that the levels to change there.
The pendulum to swing because
Yeah.
it is a grind, and you know being a female too, like when you're in living in the van, like I could just baby wipes and a black V-neck T-shirt and just get up on stage and
It's
man,
so, yeah, and people don't get that either, where it's a guy, I say all the time, guys can get up there in the same outfit. They could get in a t-shirt and a ball cap and their cowboy boots, and that's their look. It's fine. And everybody loves it. And they're like, this is great. If a girl does that, it's I don't know. It's like the girl has to get all glammed up, and girls have to have like a look. It's all about branding, you know. So it's definitely, I'm not afraid to say it. It's a lot harder. It's harder for the women. It just is.
absolutely, it's just incredibly so when you really break down, especially if there's there's no green room, no access to water, and
You're doing your you're doing your makeup in the truck, you know. Luckily I have I love my truck for that reason because I have so much space and I could turn that into my green room if I need to. But I can't count how many times I've done my makeup and hair and everything in the in my truck, in the cab of the truck, or in a church van, like I like to say.
yeah, it has to be tough. But yeah, like hopefully, because your music, I remember, I can't remember. I wish I could remember the first time I heard it. I was like, man, it's really good. And then, like, your socials are done really well too, because there's a lot of people that don't focus on it. Because I really think, I mean, like, it seems like the boom is kind of like left certain apps and whatnot, but because that's it's
Yeah.
like your press kit, your digital press kit. That's
You have to care, and as much as like I tell artists all the time, you know, I started a Women of Texas country group, and it's just kind of it started with like 10 of my friends that I knew were artists, you know, and then it's grown to like over 60 women now in this group. But we're always talking to each other about like advice and like what can you do differently, or what are you implementing into your own plan? And it's like the socials. I'm like, I can't stress this enough. I have had over the last 10 years, I've been, you know, I had the marketing teams, I had the PR teams, I was firing on all cylinders, spending money like crazy on all these different things. And if I could go back, I would tell artists, like, just focus on your socials and do it by yourself. Don't spend money on PR, don't spend money on a marketing campaign. Just figure out like your thing and just post constantly. It's just about volume. Like, quit overthinking it. Stop thinking, oh, it's cringe. Oh, I sound like crap. Every single video that I've done that's done well, there was no, I just threw paint at the wall and it just happened to work. And now the interesting thing is that TikTok doesn't, every once in a while a TikTok will do well, but I've been posting on trials on Instagram as like a trial reel, and then that posts to Threads, and it also posts on Facebook. And if it performs well there, then I transfer it over to Instagram, and that has been actually like working. But Facebook and YouTube, I feel like it's this secret little, people aren't utilizing it like they should. And so that's one thing I've been trying to do is, you know, realize that it's not just TikTok, it's not just, all these different platforms have different audiences, and so the fans are there. We just got to get better at finding them.
yeah, it is amazing. It's new age flyering, where
Yeah.
the whole world is in the palm of people's hands now, and it's very powerful. And once, like you said, once you find what people like from you, it's endless. And you just kind of like you said, you kind of like get over yourself, because a lot of people are like, how come you don't ever post your guitar playing? I'm like, because I hate watching myself play guitar. They're like, well,
Me
you're
too.
good.
Me too. I had to just get to a point where I was like, okay, I could keep trying to find guitar players to play for me for these videos for TikTok or whatever for content. But it was like I was spending like $150 to hire a guy to come and play some songs for me, and like the videos wouldn't do anything. And it was like, oh my gosh. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna learn chords and play enough so that I could just post on TikTok. And it's been really rewarding. And I've gotten to the point now where I realize that the people that I'm actually worried about judging me, like, those people don't buy my merch. Like, the people that actually I'm like, it's my peers that I'm feeling cringy in front of. But at the end of the day, I'm like, they don't buy my stuff. So why do I care? You know, it's the 67-year-old man in Minnesota that buys everything and like shows up, and he loves me. Could care less that I suck at guitar, you know? So I was like, I just had to kind of switch my mindset. And I think, you know, I'm almost 40 now too. So I think as you get older, you just realize you're like, I just don't care anymore. I'm throwing paint at the wall, and if it works, it works.
Yeah, and that's so true. Like, the older you do get, you're just like, But yeah, it is hard. But you're doing so well that even your copycat accounts are
Oh my
interacting with you.
gosh.
I was like,
I don't understand. I
so
don't,
bold.
I flag them and I report them and they multiply and the best is they comment back to me as if they're me.
That's so
Which I was like,
wild.
this is, but then I thought about it and I was like, well, Chancey Williams, who's a friend of mine, I love him because he had a fake account that actually had more followers than him. But he kind of was like, well, people find my music. So if there's a million fake Amanda Cates, that's a million people are finding out who Amanda Kate is. So I was like, hey, that's actually kind of a good way to think about it. So
The
as
the
long as
more
they're as
the
long
more
as
the
they're not
merrier.
posting weird like AI videos of me doing things that I wouldn't be doing, but then whatever, it is what it is.
Oh, that's scary because I've made some of myself, and I'm like, that's not what I typed in. No, just to see what it would do.
Yeah,
And some of them are like, I'm like, wait a minute, it's so creepy. They have the voice down,
yeah,
but the visuals and stuff, like you can kind of tell like with the hands and the fingers, but man, it's getting scary of how fast it and how just the precision is just going to be. I mean, they already started doing it with news stories, and people are like, I can't believe this, and they believe it. I'm like, oh my
oh yeah,
god, it's
it's really bad. And even the Super Bowl commercial with it was like Jennifer Aniston and I don't even know what the commercial was for. So their marketing team clearly did a great job. But it looked like it was AI. And I was like, you know what? I wouldn't be shocked if these actors just licensed their face. Like, sure, you can use my face in this video. They don't have to go to set. They get paid. I'm like, why not? I'd do it. Like, sure. You're gonna give me $100,000 and I don't have to leave my house and you're just gonna send me to approve this AI video of me. Why not? It's crazy.
that is a sweet deal, 100K. Yeah,
I mean, they probably get more than that, but I mean,
yeah.
shoot, I'd do it for $200, but
That's like you said. You paid guitar players to be in your video. I'm like, I might be missing out because I would do that for free. Just for the love of it. But yeah, that was the one thing, like it being in Nashville, of we had a couple session players, and I was like, how much do I owe for the session players? I couldn't believe how cheap they were. I was like,
oh yeah,
and they were like one take Tonys. I was like, this is amazing. They had a guitar with nines on it, and I can't play nines, and it just sounded terrible. And they're like, stop pressing so hard. I'm like, I can't. That's my thing. And the guy
yeah,
just sat down. I just hummed what I wanted, and he was just like, oh, like this. I'm like,
yep,
that's better, but
yep.
it's incredible.
It's
Wow.
people probably wouldn't even like most of my album, maybe two takes, maybe, but these guys are just so good. And if you have the pre-production down and the work tapes like sound pretty decent and you get them in there and you're like, okay, this is unfair. I think at one point I like wanted them to do another, because we were there, booked the time. I'm like, I don't want to leave yet. I just want them to keep playing because they're so dang good. But yeah, Nashville musicians, session players, it's an experience that, speaking of AI, I really hope artists that are coming up and as good as AI is going to get, it's just that experience of recording music with a live band is something that like will forever be one of my like greatest joys that best experiences I've ever had in life. And so I hope artists don't ever lose that and not have that experience. It's like I know it's expensive and it's hard, but AI they can't replace that feeling of a seven-piece country band in a room. Like it's amazing.
Yeah, all that movement of air. And the first time I went to a studio in Nashville, I was so impressed of like how, even though it's just a piece of wood, an acoustic guitar, the intricacies of how to play it, especially with the strokes, because the engineer was like, no, all downstrokes. I want it all down. He was like, be a wiper blade, and to play like that and play in time.
Consistent, yeah.
I'm like, wow, it does make a difference. And then all the different patterns of how you kind of make the acoustic blend in with being percussive,
Yep.
and how that was, because normally it was like Alice in Chains and Nirvana unplugged. That was like really the only acoustic I had ever really listened to, and that's just them playing it. But the whole way, like country music, of the implementation of the acoustics of how they can sound like a tambourine or stuff like that. And I don't like to play them. I do love listening to them, but yeah, after COVID, man, the strings, they can. It hurts to play acoustic.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where and then once you stop playing and you lose the calluses, it's like, oh gosh, we have to start all over. But yeah, I think acoustic players, B. James Laurie played on my record and my last album, and he had such an like you didn't never heard the movement. And acoustic is they can be so noisy, especially when you don't know how to play them like I do. But it was like how you can play that so delicately and beautifully, and there's no noise coming off of the guitar. Like it really is such an art, and it's so fun to see and experience how talented these guys are and girls.
Yeah, acoustic players, it's crazy just how in depth guitars are playing guitars, because especially when they know all those pretty chords. Because I come from the heavy metal world where it was just like power chords and just like riffs, and then come
Yeah.
to find out like that C chord is all over the guitar neck, and you can play all these really pretty chords up the neck, and then like capos, that was an entirely different thing where I'm like, oh, I have to shift everything up, and it's been very interesting to see like how versatile country music is.
Yeah,
And
and guitar players are funny too, because like I have always said like I think one of my superpowers, one of the things I'm really good at is putting a band together. Like I know I grew up with a mother who was a musician, and my grandmother was a classical trained pianist. She played in like all kinds of orchestras and all kinds of stuff. And so finding good musicians, I've always had a really good ear for like knowing who to put together. And a really good lead player is not a good, they're not always good acoustic players. And I have incredible acoustic players that are not lead players, and people are like, oh, I know this guitar player, he could play for you. And then he'll come and like we'll do kind of a session of him learning some of my stuff. And I was like, oh gosh, like acoustic's just not their thing. You can tell like you're a lead player. But then when you find a really good acoustic player, they are so hard to find. And when you have them, you got to hold on to them because they're worth their weight in gold for sure.
that is definitely not me. I it, like COVID, we would do a trio, and I would play a 12 string, and that kind of like masked like my inability. I just played like piano chords and whatnot, and it just sounded bigger. It definitely made me sound better than I was, but yeah, like you put an acoustic in my hands, and I'm just not happy. But I will, somebody that can play. I will sit and watch, because the stuff they can do, and it's impressive
Yeah, no, for sure.
of the sounds that can come out of that, because I can't do it. I don't have. There's just so much. Just it's very reactive of the acoustic, which for a while I just never seen it played like that. But man, some of these guys, like especially like getting into like the bluegrass guys, and you're just like, wow, that's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
cool.
It's like I think watching Zach Top when he first started coming up, it was like, oh man, this kid, like he's really good. And anyone that comes up like the bluegrass, you have to know how to play. Like they're musicians, but hearing him on the acoustic and his voice too, I was like, oh yeah, he's a bluegrass kid for sure.
I I went to a show, and I was looking at Exact Top. I'm like, man, I know this. I know this guy. I was like, I guess I know him from TikTok. And here I was talking to his manager, and he was just like, yeah, I'm Zach Top's manager. And I was kind of like, okay, the name sounded familiar, but once he got on the stage and I saw that Brent Mason guitar, I was like, oh my God. I just stared at him and said nothing. And then next thing you know, he's not opening up for anybody. He's doing full
Yeah.
tours and whatnot.
Well, and it's so great. My first viral video on TikTok was me duetting Zach Top. Like I just added harmony to one of his videos, you know, and this was what, like, I guess 4 years ago now. Um, and I just, you know, I was like, I'll just add our harmony to the song, like not thinking anything of it. And then I like woke up the next morning, there's a million views. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, it was crazy. And I mean, I knew he was gonna blow up. There was no scenario where that talent was just gonna go unnoticed, you know? But yeah, but I have to one day if I ever meet him, I'm gonna be like, hey, thank you. I have 74,000 followers on TikTok because of you. So
That's a weird feeling when you wake up and you see numbers like that and you're like, what happens now? And you're all excited and nothing happens.
nothing happened. And everyone's like, oh, you gotta have a viral moment, a viral moment. And I'm like, for what? Like it doesn't. It's cool, you know. It's really cool when it happens, and you look at your streaming numbers, and your streaming numbers are going up too. But 99% of the time, like a viral moment just means that a whole bunch of people watched your video for 4 seconds. Like that's the reality of it.
Yeah, definitely. That's yeah, and then you chase it. You chase those numbers, and oh my god, because I'm a big numbers. Like when I find like a song I like and I do a video and it doesn't do well, I like take it personal.
And you're like, what? What's happening? What did I do? I mean, I don't. Trying to capture people's attention in a second. Like that's what you have to catch them in 1 second and hope that they just stick there. But it's like at the end of the day, it's like if it's not translating and it's not moving the needle on your merchandise or your streaming numbers or your website, and then it's kind of like it is what it is. It's just an ego boost at that point, you know, and that's not gonna pay the mortgage.
Absolutely. And you know, you walk into the store after like that, and it's like life goes on. You know,
Yep.
no one cares. So it's just weird. Like the first time it happens, because you know you hear all the stories and you see all like this guy started and he just made a video and now he's doing a world tour and you're like, oh, who's gonna knock on my door? When's the knock gonna come and be like, hey, we see past the viral moment. We see your music.
Yeah.
We love you. We're going to put some money behind you. We're going to do all these great things. And like every movie you ever watch and be like, man, I want that to be me. I want that to be me. And it never comes.
Yeah. I mean, I luckily the last couple of years have had to do like a lot of soul searching and like figuring out like where I truly find happiness in the music business and like where my space is here. And I think touring Europe, we went this last summer and it opened my eyes to a whole new group of people that were just so appreciative of music. And it's like, that's why I got into this, that's why I've loved music since I was 2 years old. My mom knew I was going to be a country singer from the minute I could open my mouth. And, but somewhere along the way, you get lost in the streams and the numbers and the social media and you start to feel irrelevant. And, oh, if you're not like making it, then you're failing. And I went over to Europe and it was like these small rooms and just a handful of people and some crowds were bigger than others, but they were so appreciative and they never heard of me and they didn't care that I was in my late 30s and I was a mom and that I lived in Texas and I lived a very normal life. If anything, they loved that. And it reminded me like, okay, this is why I do this. Like it's one soul at a time. It's like one fan at a time. The fact that it's a blessing that I get to even record music. I've done more than most people will ever get to do. And so that's really kind of been my thing moving forward. I'm like, I'm going to keep doing this as long as I can impact people and I can, encourage young girls and young artists to keep going and to keep themselves centered on what really matters because social media, I mean, we saw it, TikTok almost went away in like a second. And then all these people were just devastated. Like, what am I going to do? I built my whole business around TikTok. And it's like, well, maybe we all needed to look inward and realize like this, it's got to be about more than this. And I'm so fulfilled by helping young women and this Women of Texas Country group that we've, I curated. Nothing makes me happier than like putting a community together for women to encourage one another. The guys are so good about helping each other out, and the girls have always been a little competitive. And so it's like if I can somehow breed this culture of community and encouragement. I'm like, maybe that's what my next 10 years is going to look like. I'm going to do music, here and there when I can, but at the end of the day, I'm here to kind of serve others, and it makes it feel really good.
Yeah, that's the one thing I love about the Texas scene is how communal it is. And you talk to one guy and he goes like, they always have some people that like they're just like brothers with or sisters, and it's like wherever they go, if I want to go, they'll bring me with, and it seems like somebody gets a deal, somebody gets a good shot, and they'll be like, hey, why don't you be a producer on it? Just do a co-write. It's just really cool. Everybody seems to have each other's back, and it's really nice to see that you're making sure that it stays on that end too, because like
Yeah. The girls, it's the guys, it's like you see Parker McCollum and, William Kirk Green and, all of Randy Rogers and all these guys, they're so good about keeping their boys with them and like taking them and it's like, I noticed the girls just, it wasn't the same on the other side. Granted, the girls just have a harder time. Like it's, we don't for when it comes to the girls, Bree Bagwell is like our queen. She's freaking touring harder than anyone. Like she works harder than anyone I've ever, encountered. Like she's such a badass. And her and I were talking, and it's like, we got to stick together. Like we got to create, the boys have done it. Like we got to do this too. And there's no reason why we can't help each other out and, quit being competitive and thinking that if you say too much or you include someone too much, you're going to lose out yourself. Because the guys aren't like that. The guys are very, they help each other out. They're bringing one another up. And I'm like, the girls have to do the same. And so I'm going to try to, I'm like, if that's my role, is like, I'm going to just be the cheerleader. I'm going to be team mom for the next 5 years. So
there you go. Yeah, that'll be fun. But it's yeah. I only got to talk to Bree for a little bit, but she's great, and I love watching her videos like when she had whiskey up on, and she was calling bark chords. He had his little
oh yeah.
the little paws on the guitar. I'm just like, man. I was thinking she was supposed to come on, but God, everybody at Mile Zero has a story about how tough it was to get down there because of that storm. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We were iced over here in Dallas, and I was jealous of seeing everybody down there. I was like, dang it. I wish I was down there because it is very cold here.
it was cold a couple of days down there. The one day it was windy. It's man, if you get my
Yeah,
dog,
that kind of sucks.
yeah, my dog would have blown away. It was the tents. I thought the tents were gonna fly away. It was really crazy because the amp's right by the water.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I had to Uber Miami to Key West. It was like $600, but
What?
yeah, I had to be there. I had a bunch of people coming on the podcast, and I was like, "There's no way I can just cancel a full day."
And you can't rent a car or anything?
The guys, it was at the rental center. He said, "No one has cars. The lots are empty. No one has cars. Please go to your airline and get a hotel." And I was like, "I'm not sleeping in Miami." And then
Yeah.
I was like, "Wow, what about Uber?" And I saw it was only $294 for myself, but there was two older ladies that they didn't have smartphones, and they couldn't afford the hotel rooms. It was just starting for 500, and I was like, "Listen, you want to go to Key West? I'll get a bigger Uber and we'll go." And then another couple came up, was like, "Hey, can we jump in on this? We don't know how Uber works." And I was like, "Oh." So we all trekked down there. It was in the middle of the night, so it was like about 3 hours. But like, man, the Uber, he was falling asleep.
Oh God.
Didn't speak any English, and I just kind of was like,
Trying to keep them up.
yeah, like I guess he was. I don't know if they were caffeine packets or Zins. I was like, "Una mas." If that's working, more. Yeah, it was like trying to make a show, like leaving one night where you just drive all night, drive all morning, and then it's just like boom, showtime. And
Oh God, we've done so many of those like turn and burns where it's when I lived in Southern California for a long time, and we would go to Vegas and like play Vegas and then come home but that's 3 hours. And at the time, we thought like that was, oh, that's crazy. Like we can't be doing this. Now I'm in Texas and we'll drive 6.5 hours and turn around and come home the same night at 2 in the morning. Like crazy, just not smart, but we've done it multiple times. And I'm like, man, like to think like Vegas was so close. Like I could have been playing Vegas way more if I wasn't such a baby about driving, but now we just the road. Texas artists they are their own breed. Like the amount of miles that they will trek for shows is crazy.
And still be in the same state.
Yeah. Yeah, you never leave. I tell all the time when we were in Europe, people were like they couldn't understand that Texas like it was that big. It just didn't compute. That we're like, I don't understand how is it that big? You can drive from one end to the other and not in like over a day. I was like, yes, you will be in Texas for 2 days. And they can't wrap their head around it.
And yeah, the Texas guys when they'll they'll be like, dude, we're gonna be in South Carolina, North Carolina. How far away is that? I'm like, it's like 8 hours. And I'm like, oh, so you're coming to the show? I'm like,
Yeah.
man, it's a Wednesday. I'm like, I'd have to take 2 days off. And they're like, because like I can leave my house and drive through 3 states. Well, three of them meet, and that like blows their mind. They're like, what? You can drive to another state? And I'm like, yeah. And
Yeah.
some of them I talked to like I've never left Texas, and I'm like, man, you need to come up here.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we'll drive. I do Houston quite a bit, like Houston to Dallas back and forth. When I do like the anthems and stuff, I'll just drive down and drive back. But it's wild the amount of venues. I think Texas is the only state where you truly can tour and make a decent living, like just touring Texas. And that's something where for the longest time I was trying to like do shows like all over just to try to play as much as I could. And it was like, I just need to focus on Texas more. And it definitely, and they're so prideful too. Like they love Texas artists. Like I think all the time, like if I had moved to Nashville, like I wouldn't have had, not that saying I've had a ton of success, but I don't think I would have been able to have the opportunities that I've had if I had left Texas and tried to do it from Nashville. So,
Is there outside of Texas? Do you do well in another market in any other state?
I mean, Southern California, I do pretty well because I was there. I went to high school in Southern California and we lived there. My husband's originally from there, and so I do pretty well in that market. But I think that's pretty much, we haven't really tapped into. I've wanted to do like Montana or Wyoming, that whole area, and then New Mexico, but like the whole New Mexico Texas thing kind of feels like it's the same. But I think for the most part, like the Southwest and when we play Nashville, it's hard because they're all tourists when we're playing there, so no one's from there, but for the most part, just Texas.
Yeah, it works. It's been working for a lot of people. I always, this time of year when they release their tour dates, I always say TX, 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 TX. I'm like, come on. But I get it. I definitely get it. Why would you leave if you can sustain enough to have an income and still do what you love and just plug at it? But with Europe, you say you're going back to Europe again?
Yeah, we're going. Last year we were in Switzerland and Germany. And then this next year we're going to be in Sweden, Switzerland, and possibly France. And so I'm stoked about that. The European trips have been, the fans are so different. It's so weird because when you're playing to them, honestly, you kind of feel like they hate you because you're like they're not emotional. You know what I mean? They're not going to hoot and holler and be very like animated during your shows, but then after, your merch lines are out the door. I mean, they'll buy everything. They will buy, if you have a sticker, they'll buy a sticker. If you have a koozie, it's like they are so in it with you. But you have to kind of get over. I realized I was like, oh, I love like crowd work, like playing off the crowd and talking to the crowd, but half of them, like when we were in Germany, like they didn't speak English. So I realized I was like, oh, they're not laughing at my jokes because they don't understand me. And so it was hard to kind of like get past that. But it was really, really cool. I mean, you play wagon wheel and they lose their minds. I mean, like I never have I was like, oh my gosh, like this room erupted over wagon wheel, which was like hilarious to me. But it really is. It's really, really cool. And my family gets to go. My husband and my daughter go with me. And so it's been really cool to see like traveling through my daughter's eyes and seeing this little 8-year old experience Germany and Switzerland and all these like little tiny villages and towns that are so unaffected by like they don't you can tell the kids there are just so like pure and innocent and life is so simple. They're farmers and they're not into social media and fancy cars and all of that. I was like, oh, just that way of life, getting to have my daughter experience that is worth its weight in gold. I'm like, I'll stay relevant as long as I can in music just for this, just to be able to let her experience it.
Oh, that's definitely an incredible experience. I've never been to Europe, and that's cool. Get to see that side of the world, and to see, like you're playing over there, and see like you have fans all over the world, and
It's crazy. Like when you
yeah,
realize that I come home and I get messages that, from all the people that saw me in Germany and we want you to come back, we want you to come back. And they stay up to date on all the stuff that you're doing and they comment on your things where it's, you know, here we're so spoiled because there's just so many artists. There's so much music. But over there, it's they don't have that. And especially Texas, they love anything Texas. They were just, wait, you have horses, like real horses? I was like, yeah. Like, they're so fascinated with the cowboy culture, which was really cool.
we had the Rugged Revival guys down in Texas with us, and they're from London, and that's they wanted to go to Boot Barn
Yeah.
and like do it all up, and because he was like, what would really complete the outfit is some Spurs. I'm like, I don't know if I'd be going wearing Spurs, but hey, he wanted to do it. He wanted to go all the way. It was so cool to see. Like, I don't know how food is in London, but they took him out and had Mexican food. And they're like, these are beans. These are beans. The refried beans. I'm like, yeah, it's it's cool though, and like they love all the Texas guys too, and everybody I've talked to. It's funny. I'm wearing the shirt. I was talking to them Dirty Roses. I said, what's been like the coolest thing you've done on tour? And you hear like I was expecting to hear like a party story or something, or like we played at thousands of people. He said, Europe, dude. He said entirely different. He said we played a couple cover songs and they stopped us and said, no, we can play your stuff. And he said
Yeah.
they're an entirely different level of if they love you, like they're in it to the end. And he said, man, the depth of how much they appreciate and love the music. And he's like, dude, once you get over there, it's like, and how could you not love that? Because a lot of times you be playing and man, I don't know how some artists feel, but when people turn around, they're taking selfies like right in the front row, and there's somebody else behind them that wants to be in front. And I'm just like, man. And I just sometimes you just look up at the artist and you're like, oh, they don't like that either. It's just weird. Or sometimes people over here try to make everything about themselves, and they're like, well, they won't shut up. And you're just like,
Yeah. I mean,
ah,
that's the hardest thing for me as I've like gotten older, my patience level for rude fans. Oh God. I was like, one of these days there'll be a viral video. That's gonna be my viral moment. It's gonna be me like going off on a group of fans in a crowd that just like, yeah, they won't stop talking. And I don't mind when it's a rowdy bar because it's like, I get it. Like you didn't
mhm.
come here to you may not even know I was playing, I'm just background noise. But when it's a listening room and like and it's a hard ticket and people have purchased tickets to come and hear me, they want to hear the stories, they want to hear, these songs acoustic, and you're sitting there just like talking away. I'm like, who raised you? It drives me insane. Even when I'm in there and I'm as a fan and at a listening room and people are talking, I I have no shame. I will call you out. I will shush you. I will be the mom and shush you in front of everyone. Because it's so rude and it's so
I,
hard as an artist. You're especially like the intimate songs where I have a few songs where I get emotional singing them because they're just super personal. And it's really hard to disconnect from the song and just like get in it. And then you're hearing this like, you're trying to like focus on the song and your craft and you just hear this like chatty, 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 chatty in your ear. It's so obnoxious.
it is. And man, the first time I went to a listening room, obviously it's in the name. You listen, it's
Yeah.
not, it's not, it's not the Bird's Nest Social Club. It's the Bird's Nest listening room. So I knew to like be quiet. And I was amazed at just like how quiet the room was and people ordering drinks, like whisper talking. And
Yes.
I was like, this is really cool because I'm not a lyric listener. First listen, it takes, man, just probably songs I've listened to for 30 years. I have no idea. I know how the lyrics sound with the melody, but I don't know the word. But man, when somebody's sitting up and they say, like, they say this song is about, losing a loved one, and you're just like, whoa. And it's like, how could you talk after someone said that? And it just, the connectivity of the singer and the listener in those environments, it was really intense. I thought like a hardcore show was intense because you get to like make sure, like who's moshing, who's like, who's going to jump off the stage and stage dive. And, it was definitely an emotional intensity that just, man, it's an incredible experience when you get to really, you hear what the songs are about. And because a lot of times you can forget that these artists, their songs, they're their story.
Yeah.
And that's, and some, like Tanner Usry has this song Josephine, and it's like his encore, and it's so sad. The song, like, and people like go like, "Whoa!" I'm like, oh my god, it's weird, like.
Yeah, you're like,
I'm like, he's
are
like,
we?
he's wiping a tear out of his eye, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, I don't know if I could do that, like, especially
Yeah.
in that kind of environment. But that was the one thing, like the first podcast I did with Drew Herrickle, he said, the music doesn't have to be heavy because the lyrics can just be as heavy as any heavy metal song. And that's the more and more I really try to listen to lyrics and you get the lyrics and you're just like, there's so much truth in that. And using music, like when, normally I would just put on a song because I want to drive fast or lift weights. And then,
Yeah.
you want to get over something or, the whole sad songs make me happy kind of deal. And you can listen to a song and be like, oh, they went through it and they're fine. They're doing,
Yeah.
they're doing great.
I mean, sad songs, there is something to be said for that because I think right now, one of my singles that's at radio, at Texas radio, is When I Think About You, which is like the saddest song on my album for sure. And my radio promoter was like, it was between that and In This Town. And I loved In This Town because In This Town's probably been my favorite song on my album. And it never got the streams, it never got the love. But he's like, when I think about you, like this song is really, really good. And it is like, it's a song about loss, but it's more of like, it could be about a love that's lost. It could be about, when I sing it, I sing it from a place of like losing my mother and like what I went through for that. But it's so like all these people are, loving it and it's climbing up the charts. And I was like, man, the one I never would have thought, that sad one would be the one that people were like, oh no, we love that one. Radio loves that one. I'm like, okay, but a lot of people are a sucker for a sad song.
Music's such a crazy thing. When, like you said, like, I love this song. This is the one you put it out, and the one that you never ever would have thought, and just people, the audience takes it and just consumes it. It's such a wild. It's
like even like Tequila and Jesus. I mean, I knew that the song was. I knew people would like it because it was like easy to listen to, and the message it was like everyone loves tequila and Jesus, the title, it had a good, like, catchy title. But I always thought Pedal Steel was going to be my, like, that was going to be the song that like really did something for me. And sure enough, it was like, no, tequila, to this day, it's my number one stream song. Out of nowhere, it'll just like spike, Um, and so, and it's, part of me is like, man, I need another song like Tequila and Jesus. But then at the same time, it's like as an artist, you just kind of get out of that phase, and I'm like, I don't know, I kind of want to sing about heavier topics now. I want to sing about stuff that's a little more mature, I guess. But yeah, songs are funny. You can't predict it. If we could, we'd all be famous by now, right?
Yeah, right. If there was a formula that you could just apply and just, cha-ching, finally, profit. What's that?
Yep.
Because for a lot, like the grind it's a grind. Because I always wanted to do music until I saw my favorite band begging for money. Like they were signed. They had songs in a movie. They had a song in a video game, doing big tours, and they were literally begging for money so they could get peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at the store. And it scared me. And then one of my best friends was their manager. I just remember walking into Banana Republic. It's 96 degrees out, and this guy's wearing a turtleneck sweater. I'm like, what is this guy doing? And I turn around, it's my buddy. And I said, what happened, dude? You guys were just doing like a big world tour? And he's like, band broke up. I was like, oh man, that's well, good. He was wearing this because he had to cover all his tattoos.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, just like that?
Yeah.
Just like that, it's over? He's like, yeah. Then I got to pay the bills. So here I am stacking pants in Banana Republic. And then, it's scary.
I've been really lucky because I've done corporate recruiting for over 10 years, and I've been able to do that remotely. So I can do it from the road. And I think people all the time are a little shocked when they find out, like, wait, you still have a day job? And I'm like, yeah, like I've built a career, like a corporate career. And then I've also built the music at the same time. And, maybe I could have been more successful if I hadn't been burning the candle at both ends. But at the same time, it was like, I never wanted to resent music and the art of getting to do this. And I think a lot of times artists get burnt out because the financial stress of it, and it's so hard. And for me, I just felt like, you know what, if I can do both things and not, kill myself over it, I'm going to just try to do it. And I think that me having a day job, and I tell people all the time, like, don't ever knock the people that are working the day job and doing the music thing, because honestly, it can be done. And I think that sometimes that takes the pressure off a little bit so that you don't feel like you have to take the acoustic gig at the coffee shop for $150 because you're like, I got to pay rent tomorrow and I don't have enough money. It's like, there's social media, there's ways to do it without having to take every gig that, not to say like there's no gig that is like beneath me, but at the same time, it's like, work smarter, not harder. And for me, I'm like, I'm going to just bust my ass. I'm going to work a day job. I'm going to work my socials, and I'm going to do the marketing and the writing and just grind it out, but still not have to stress out about money being, having it be my full-time, job.
Yeah, absolutely. And man, I've talked to some people where they really felt like they needed it to be 100% of their life. And it's like, man, this day job's really dragging me down. And I'm like, man, think of your fans. They're not professional fans. They're doing the same thing. And with that, there's definitely more connection. Like, I watched this band. It was funny because like I went to Nashville and I was like, get me off of Broadway. It's the same 20 songs. It was driving me crazy. And we just went to some side bar. And these guys came out and said, you probably recognize us from P.F. Chang's. We probably cleaned your table. And I was like, really? That's a weird intro. Next thing you know, it was like some of the best music I've ever heard. It was,
yeah.
I was like, man, that was, and like, cause everyone was kind of like, yeah, I like P.F. Chang's,
Yeah.
and here they're so good. And, you know, everyone's like, oh man, you need to do this full time. They're like, what do you think we're trying to do? You know, like,
Well, that's the thing too. Bree, speaking of Bree Bagwell, her and I were talking, and I was getting so like it's so annoying. And I don't know if this happens to men as much as it does with guys, but like you'll be playing a show and doing like pretty well, and like when it comes to like getting paid, like we pay our guys, like we're not up there playing. I don't play for free. I I don't play for free, and I won't unless it's like a charity event or something. But you know, we're up here like running a band, running our own business, you know, paying people and providing for them, and people come up and they're like, "Oh, I just wish you guys like I wish you guys could make it." And it's like, I don't know, this is like pretty cool. This is pretty awesome that we're getting to like play these awesome shows and also provide a living for seven guys that are up here, you know? It's like the people just forget that how much work goes into to the business side of music, and there's levels. Just because we're not Lainey Wilson doesn't mean that we're not successful, you know what I mean, in our own right. And so, but yeah, that could be a whole other podcast.
yeah, it definitely, yeah, I've seen people like be asked that, and they're like, well, you know, when do you feel like you've made it? And they're like, I already have. You know, it might not be at like the extreme level, you know, and not a lot of people get to be in that club of, you know, the world stadium tours. And there's an entirely there's places for everybody. And as long as you're happy, and like you said, if everyone's being provided and you're doing what you want, you can keep your sound. You don't have to answer to anybody in a suit. You know, like your name is on the marquee. You're the boss. You're the, you know, CEO, and like your guitar players are the trustees. It's all
Yeah.
it's all working machine. And a lot of people don't. I've learned that a lot of people don't realize that, because not only are, you know, singer, songwriter, guitarist, you know, you're also probably tour manager.
Yeah, you're literally doing all of the jobs and then working so hard, but because you're not playing stadiums, I always say like the sweet spot for me, like making it big time, would be playing like house of club venues, like House of Blues. Like when you can play House of Blues size venues consistently, like that's it. Like that is the sweet spot, because you're getting to like play quality venues. You know, you're probably traveling around in a bus, you know, you're not in a church van anymore. Like that is awesome. And I think speaking of like metal, like rock bands, I mean, I went to a show for my drummer at the time, he was playing for an artist, but to a big like rock show at the House of Blues, and all the like the rock, those fans that go to those shows, I was like, oh my, they stood there, they were focused, like they were not there to drink, they were there to listen to those bands. And I was like, this is it. Like this is the sweet spot where you're playing House of Blues, you're touring the US and Europe, and yeah, you don't have to play stadiums, you're not having to worry about, you know, crazy semi trucks and all of the, you know, crazy logistics. But getting to play those level of shows would be, to me, that'd be the dream.
Yeah, and man, there's got to be a point, especially if you love interacting with your fans. You know, you get too big, and I feel like there's a point where you start getting scared of people.
Well, yeah, because like I mean, you think about like Lainey Wilson can't go to a grocery store. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it
that's
could get
terrible.
weird. It could get weird where I'm like, you know, I love that I still like I could just walk around. Nobody knows who I am. Like I mean, I get recognized in my small town, but other than that, it's like you could just live a normal life. You could travel, you could go on vacation, but once you get too big, then it's like, you know, Carrie Underwood can't go shopping at a mall. You know, it's
Yeah,
because you get too famous. And so yeah, see, now you're making me feel pretty good about where I'm at, you know, with my career. You're right, being famous isn't, that's not where it's at.
yeah, that would be terrible. It'd be like what Michael Jackson had to like rent out all of Disneyland or Disney World, wherever, or the supermarket, so he could pretend like he was normal.
Yeah.
You know, like. But then I hear like over in Europe, they don't care. They're just like, yeah, you're cool.
Well, that's what's her name? Lindsay Lohan. She moved to Dubai because they have a law where you can't photograph people. Like you are literally not allowed to take a photograph of someone without their permission.
Huh.
So, yeah, she's like, there's no paparazzi. Nobody cares like
Oh
who I
man.
am. They won't they're not allowed to approach you. And I was like, oh, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, especially God. They're vultures. Ah, I couldn't imagine that. Like just being everywhere, like just camera flashes in your face all the time. I no.
Well, and
Yeah.
there's also the thing of like, I know even at shows where some people they just get like handsy. So you'll be at the merch booth and people want to take pictures and it's there's just this weird thing where people see you on social media and they see you at shows, but then they see you in real life and they feel like they know you, which I totally get because I mean, I put so much of my life on the internet. But it is a weird thing as a female. I'm like, I don't have a security guard. Like, I have my band, guys there sometimes to help, like, look after me, I guess. But there's some interactions where it just gets weird. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I don't, if I was by myself, like, luckily, I'm like, I don't go walk into my truck at the end of the night. I don't ever do that by myself because it's like, I'm every once in a while creeped out. So I can only imagine being super well known and constantly knowing that people know who you are, no
Yeah,
matter where you are.
that
It's got to
sounds
be a weird
terrible.
feeling.
That that reminds me of Brie Bagwell's her exercise video about like the overbearing fans, like get off.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought that was so great. But yeah, we're coming up on an hour. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about that we haven't
Oh
talked?
gosh. It went by so fast.
No.
No, I mean, I'm super excited for this next year. Like I said, I'm really hyper focused on building a community for women in Texas, when it comes to women in Texas country, and that's gonna be a big project for me this next year. We're releasing new music. I do have a new song that's gonna be coming out here soon, and getting to play shows in Europe. But I think this year, 2026, has been a year of really looking inward and figuring out like how do I add value to this space, to country music, um and maybe it's through music, maybe it's through just using my ability to network and bring people together to create community. I'm not sure what that's going to be, but just excited to still be here and still feel blessed that I get to even do this. I live a very I love my life. I love my life at the level of music that I get to do. It feels like a blessing every day, and so I can't complain.
Well, that's great, and I'm glad you're still doing it because your music is great, and I hope if people haven't heard it, they go check it out because there's not a bad song, and it definitely I think the people that like the traditional sound with a modern feel, they'll just feel right at home at it, and like you said, finding your space, and also you know, for because I've talked to a lot of female artists and they have different issues that I had no idea because obviously I'm a guy and it's stuff I never thought about. And it come to find out some great, incredibly talented country artists are looked over or not booked because they have their moms. Like, what does that mean?
Oh
Like,
yeah, I mean it's a
that's
thing. Like I just a couple weeks ago, I had a guy come up to me and tell me like, hey, from a major like fairs and events, like very well known name, and was like, I just don't book females. Like I just unfortunately they just don't draw. They don't draw. And I was like, but you're willing to book someone who has like 500 followers on social media, but he's 19 and up and coming and a dude with a ball cap, a backwards hat, and has two songs on Spotify. Has never put a band together, has never toured, has never, like, I can guarantee you, is not going to promote the show. They're not going to put social media marketing behind it because they don't know how, because they're just starting out. Like, they'd rather take that bet than an artist that is going to promote the show, who's going to put a show together for the event, knowing that it's going to be probably families there. So I'm going to put together an entire 90-minute show that's going to entertain a variety of different fans and not just the 16-year-old girls. But that's just the good old boys club. That's what they want to keep doing it their way. And I was like, all right. But then you get the booking agents and you get the talent buyers that see the show and they're like, yeah, I'm going to bring you in. Like you put on a kick-ass show. Like the band is incredible. The songs are great. We're going to give you a chance. But it is really frustrating to be turned down for something just because you're a female. Like that,
That's wild.
it is wild.
Yeah, and I've that's not the first time I've heard that. It's still every time I do hear it, I just shake my head because coming from the heavier side of music, there's not a lot of females that do it, and let's be honest, men cannot hit the frequencies that you hit or have that pitch.
Yeah.
And it's been great to like learn about artists and listen to music like yourself and like and some of the bigger like Alison Krauss, like hearing her for the first time, I was just like.
I'm getting to see her. My first show at the Ryman is going to be Alison Krauss. I've never seen a show at the Ryman, and I'm going to go in September, and I'm seeing Alison Krauss, and I could not be more excited. Like I have loved her since I was like I don't know since I was little,
That's
and
awesome.
so yeah. But she has the voice of an angel. Like I'm pretty convinced that when we all go to heaven, that there's going to be those are the voices that you're going to hear.
Yeah, I'm down for it. It's crazy. I wish I had like better ways to describe stuff, but man, it's like you can see through it.
Oh,
It's
it's
just
it's so
crystal.
pure and delicate and the conviction like when she sings like you believe it, you believe every word that she sings, and that is something that can't be taught, man. That's God given right there.
Absolutely. And to have that, it has to be incredible. Where I mean, any place you walk into a room, and there's a microphone. She's definitely going to be asked, like, you know,
Yeah. Hey, hey,
hey,
hey, can you just do a couple lines? Yeah.
yeah, can you hypnotize this entire room?
Yeah.
But yeah, that should be a great show. That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
But yeah, I know a lot of the female artists would definitely appreciate what you're doing for them because I I don't know what to tell them. I wish I did, and I always try to when they send me stuff, I always try to share it and push people their way. But that entire stuff, like that was so foreign to me. I was like, but how does the talent not shine through? Like,
And it's so ignorant because like some of the best selling artists have been females.
yeah,
But
it's
for whatever reason, until you've made it, until you've crossed over into the like, oh, she's a big deal now. Everybody's like, oh yeah, they pass over the females. I mean, you look at every festival and Texas is guilty of it too, or you look at a festival lineup and there's two girls, like two. And I'm like, I will die on this hill. The songs that females are putting out are so much better than the ones that the guys are putting out right now. I mean, I will listen to, all of Ella's last album, her new stuff that she's putting out. It is so dang good. And the artists that are, you know, Caitlin Butts, it's like you can't tell me that oh yeah, women like they're just not as entertaining or they don't draw. I'm like, have you ever seen a Caitlin Butts show? It's so damn entertaining.
oh yeah,
Like
it's just
I would much rather see that. Like, so
absolutely.
yeah, I'm gonna just I've decided, I'm like I can't I'm so sick of hearing, that like opportunities are not being given to the females. And I'm like, if I can make a difference in a boardroom and walk into a space and start advocating for some of these artists that I truly think are incredible, just as a voice in the industry, like I want to do that. And so, yeah, just here fighting the good fight.
Definitely, and I know they appreciate it because they need someone like that to stand up, or because they make some, especially new artists. They yes, 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 and you just get ground up by the machine. It'd be
Yep.
nice to have someone with some tenure and just be like, no, No,
And that's the thing, and I've got nothing to lose because I was like, you know what, like I've been there, done that, and I've got a little girl at home, and I grew up with five brothers, so I was like, you want to come at me? Let's do this, you know? But I'm like, there's so many artists that I truly believe in. And, you know, Peyton Howie's one of them. Like, I love that girl to death and she's so freaking good. And she's grinding it out. She's busting her ass on the road. Her band is great. She's an incredible guitar player. She's a musician. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, if I don't see her, you know, keep getting to that next level in the next couple of years. And if I don't like do something to this industry to try to shake it up to make people like see how incredibly talented some of these girls are, it's just, I'm going to be kicking myself. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get out there and do everything I can to just advocate for them as the big sister. And, you know, like I said, the cheerleader, the mom in the room.
the mom. Well, that's great. And, you know, it's rewarding to help people. That's what I found. Like the whole thing, like people like, you know, you don't play your guitar a lot on the channel. You don't, because I have my own music with some bands, and I'm like, why would I turn my back on the people that help like build this up? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I always like being, you know, the guy in the car that put in the CD and be like, hey, listen to this, and people are like, oh, I like that, and I've always liked to have that, and now I have it on like a bigger scale, and I really like when people find, you know, new artists. And doing the podcast, you get to find out that they're good people too, and then we get to find out and address things because, like myself, some people listening to this may not know that that's happening, and
Yep.
it's wrong. It's a shame because, man, I just saw Caitlin last week, and she crushed it. And
Yeah.
she's an album away from being a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
It's been really cool to watch that from when I got in on the scene and whatnot, and just yeah, it's something that needs to be addressed, and I'm glad you're addressing it, and that you already have 60 people under your wing. That
Yeah, I mean, it grew so fast, and so if anyone's watching this, if you're a female in Texas, you know, hit me up, message me so I can add you to our group here. It's a private chat right now. It's a closed group, but eventually I'm hoping to figure out how best to kind of open it up to even more people. I'm trying to stick to just Texas right now because I feel like got to figure this out first, you know, before we, you know, start doing it outside of this market. But it's definitely, my mom always said, you know, don't give up, give back. And so on days when I start to feel discouraged or feeling like, oh gosh, like what am I doing? Like this song isn't doing what I wanted it to, or I missed out on that opportunity. I instantly am like, okay, what can I do for someone else today? Like, what can I do to push this forward? And it was like, I started with the Women of Texas Country playlist, and I just built a playlist of all my favorite girls and started putting that out. And I was like, you know what, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to start, you know, trying to figure out ways that I can give back to these girls so that in 10 years, this market looks a lot different than it does right now.
and I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to be grateful for that. And I know I'd be, because some of the best people and best artists I've heard have been females, and it's been really cool. Like I said, like coming from that, it was like if my mom, you know, my mom loved Cher, so that
Who doesn't love, everyone loves Cher. We all loved Cher, right?
yeah, like Cher,
Yeah.
Madonna, and like all Whitney Houston and whoever else. But other than that, I didn't really have a lot. Now I have so many Texas female artists that are just absolutely incredibly talented, and you know, the world needs more of that, and I appreciate that you're helping them out, because I probably know a couple of them, and I know.
Yeah, you definitely do. We have quite a group going now. But we appreciate you so much for just giving us this opportunity to come on to your platform, because you have a crazy amount of followers on here. And every time, you know, we see you reviewing songs or listening to songs, and it is really cool to see that we have, you know, people in our corner, and so we very much appreciate you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the music as well. Who would have thought a guy from the Northeast would find such a great scene and really trying to, open people's eyes up that, man, country music never went away. It just lost its meaning.
Yep.
And, people like you are keeping it alive and bringing back the purity of it and the story. And I've really appreciated finding stuff like that. So yeah, thank you as well.
Yes, awesome. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you have a good night. And as soon as my new stuff comes out, I'll make sure to send it over to you. I would love to hear what you think.
Yeah,
Good, bad, and different. But
definitely.
yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on and enjoy the rest of your night as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
See ya.